Some of my favorite videos of the week are when we get analytical about fixing some problems that I've noticed about the Dirty Birds. Now, make no mistake about this, my friends and Falcons fans. By the way, welcome into Falcons Today. I'm not saying that the Falcons have so many issues that they need to fix, because I do believe this team is trending in the right direction. But nobody's perfect. No team is perfect. No unit is perfect. They still have some defensive needs. They still have some offensive needs. And if you want to hear what those are, do me a favor, join the 42,000 strong that we've got right now on Falcons Today by hitting that subscribe button. So today we're going to dissect. We're going to put on the gloves. We're going to dissect the problems for the Dirty Birds and what they need in order to become true playoff contenders during this 2025 season. I just want to jump right in real quick. Let's talk about it. The defensive needs for the Falcons. They need a true nose tackle type. Now, when I say type, I mean someone that can hybrid as that nose tackle position, but also play a defensive tackle position. I do know that David Onyemata is kind of like that guy for you, for the Dirty Birds, alongside Brandon Dorlus. However, I think one screenshot that I found from the Bills game perfectly encapsulates how the Falcons don't usually traditionally have a nose tackle type of player. This is a stereotypical 7-man, 6-man front for the Dirty Birds in the 2025 season. As you notice, Arnold Ebiketie on the far left. Then you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 players that are lined up right on that edge, all spread out. Caden Ellis, David Onyemata, Jalen Walker, D. Alford actually kind of backing up that right tackle, that right end position. But the way that I look at this right here is by saying the Falcons are using angled attacks to spread out their defenders to confuse opposing quarterbacks. Now, this might be a great plan when it comes to your pass rush. However, can you see the opening hole that it would be in case the Bills decided to run during this play? You've got way too many gaps, especially in some zone scheme blocking that the Bills offense would like to run. This, to me, is part of the reason why the Falcons got gashed on the second drive, or the first drive, of the second half. I think it's also important to point out that the Falcons are currently 17th in the NFL against the run. So while they might have statistically the best defense in the NFL in terms of yards per game and number one against the pass, against the run, they've struggled. Now, the Carolina Panthers showed that in their 30-0 win over the Dirty Birds. And last, Monday, you saw the Buffalo Bills start to make some momentum happen on the ground. 5, 6, 7-yard run plays over and over again, which proves to me that the tape is showing you something. The Falcons are clearly lacking that dominating physical tree stump, big-bodied human being on that defensive line. Someone that doesn't necessarily need to rush the quarterback, right? The Falcons have been excellent at doing that all season long. Rukarororo leads the NFL in QB pressure rates, by the way. Now, remember, he doesn't play nearly as many snaps as some other guys, but 80 pass rush snaps is the minimum qualifying, and Rook meets those requirements. 15.5% for interior pressure rate. That is unbelievable. And also, the Falcons are 6th in the league in quarterback pressure rate at 39.9%, and in third, in sack percentage at 8.9%. So rushing the quarterback is not a problem. What we need is someone that we can just say, hey, I don't want you to go up against the quarterback. I don't need you to get inside the pocket. Just solidify the defensive line. A true nose tackle type. Someone that if you had 1.5 sacks in the entire season, I'd be happy. Well, believe it or not, 2 names floated around as trade candidates for those traditional nose tackle types. Now, I say types because technically they're defensive tackles, right? There's very few true nose tackles left in the NFL. They are a combo hybrid defensive tackle or nose tackle, whatever you want to call them. But the 2 names that have been floated out by multiple sources, one including Adam Schefter, are Jeffery Simmons and Shelby Harris. Now, Jeffery Simmons is clearly the better player, clearly the more interesting and intriguing trade candidate. However, I was talking to our very ugly Tennessee Titans host, and he told me he's probably not up for a trade. He'd be like the last person the Titans would trade, considering he's like the best player on their team. So the only other player that Adam Schefter listed was Shelby Harris. And to be listed as the only defensive tackle trade candidate, the only one, leads me to believe the Cleveland Browns are trying to shop Harris. Now, they did draft a couple of guys that are replacing him on the defensive line, one being Mason Graham from Michigan, who has done an excellent job of solidifying their defensive line. But Shelby Harris could make a very nice rental addition for the Dirty Birds. Now, I'm not going to front with you. He's not the same player that he was when he played for Denver or when he started his career with the Raiders. He's much older, 34 years old, 8 tackles only, 3 tackles for loss, but a run-stopping grade of 72.0. This could be a player that you get for very cheap. You don't have to give up too much, maybe a 6th or a 7th round pick, and he can still give you plenty of solid production. Remember, he doesn't start. He's a rotational defensive tackle right now for the Cleveland Browns. But even just his physical presence would help plug up those holes on the defensive line for the Dirty Birds, which is something, in my opinion, that they're lacking. This defense looks so much better in so many different areas, but that true thumper up the middle is not there yet. And I would like it to be Brandon Dorlus. I would like it to be David Onyemata. Hell, you could probably call someone up from the practice squad to add another presence on that defensive line. But if you wanted to really get someone that you know would give you solid production, game in and game out, Shelby Harris is the guy. He was replaced by Mason Graham, the rookie out of Michigan. And again, I say nose tackle, but really Mason Graham is a defensive tackle. He just slides into that nose tackle position sometimes. But he spent the last 3 seasons with the Browns. He is old, so he's 34 years old, coming down to the very end of his career. But if the Falcons were in the market to buy and really just be on a rental, then fine. Trade it away. Trade a 6th or a 7th round conditional pick. Doesn't matter. Get this guy on the team, which is why I'm saying, hell yeah, you should sign him. Hell yeah, you should sign him. This is a guy that understands defensive fronts better than almost anybody in the league, given his age and his experience. He plays all the time. Maybe not this year as a starter, but throughout his last couple of seasons, he has been a solid 13, 14 games a year player. He could really help the Atlanta Falcons. Now, before I get on to the next problem that the Dirty Birds have, I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor, and that is HelloFresh. Look, this is the time of the year where you need tasty and healthy menu options from our friends over at HelloFresh. And you may remember HelloFresh, but not like this, because fall is here. When it comes to those cooler nights, heartier meals, and the craving for something warm and satisfying, our friends at HelloFresh come in big. This season, they've taken things to the next level with their biggest menu refresh yet. Say hello to a whole new way to do dinner. It is healthier. Feel great with an even healthier menu filled with high protein and veggie-packed recipes. HelloFresh now helps you eat greener with new veggie-packed recipes that have 2 or more veggies. It is also tastier, getting steak and seafood recipes delivered every single week for no extra cost. There's 3 times more seafood on the menu now at no extra cost as well. 91% of customers say they feel healthier when eating with HelloFresh, and the best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied at discount on first box. New subscribers only varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. Thank you to our friends over at HelloFresh. Let's go. Falcons needs on offense. I think this one's pretty obvious. You need a second option at wide receiver. Wait. Moose. You got Darnell Mooney. Yeah, but Darnell Mooney's been injured. And if you wanted my honest opinion, I think Darnell Mooney could be the best 3 in the league if you decided to go out and trade for a wide receiver. We're going to bring up another player on this Falcons wide receiver depth chart here in just a moment. Ray McCloud. Honestly, it still is a head scratcher to me, other than the one reason why I believe he was a healthy scratch against the Buffalo Bills. But back to Mooney for a second. I am not advocating that we get rid of Darnell Mooney. I think when healthy, this is a true best option for Michael Penix to get better, and a solidified option to help this Falcons offense, get better. But against the Bills, this is the most glaring and obvious reason why the Falcons need another wide receiver. Penix threw the ball 32 times against the Bills. 32 passing attempts. 16 of those went to Drake London. That's scary enough in and of itself. 16 targets went to Drake London. 8 went to your running back. That's 2/3 of your targets went to 2 players. Kyle Pitts got 4, and your next wide receiver, Casey Washington, got 2 total targets. So what is this obviously telling you, Falcons fans? If your next wide receiver is only getting 2 targets, you've got a major problem. It is time to make a trade. And obviously, when Darnell Mooney comes back, he'll get a higher amount of shares. There's no doubt. But there's a name that has been floated around the NFL ether. Most recently with our guy, Ricky Scoops. Shout out to Slick Rick. But remember what I was telling you about Ray McCloud? I have never seen a healthy scratch for a wide receiver when you know your number 2 option is already out of the game. Darnell Mooney gets ruled out, and they come out 20 minutes before the game, and they say Ray McCloud is a healthy scratch. Why would someone do that? Why would a coach do that? He's trying to keep him healthy for a trade package. That's my honest opinion. I've watched enough football to know that when players don't practice or they are healthy scratches, it usually indicates that there might be a move coming sooner rather than later. Now, who might one of those trade partners be? Maybe the Miami Dolphins, who are actively shopping Jalen Waddle, according to Slick Rick. He's got a plus 70% hit rate. Just letting you know. Raheem Morris, Terry Fontenot, get on that phone. Deet, 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 deet. Arthur Blank, sign the check. Let's go, brother. Jalen Waddle, Drake London, Darnell Mooney. Think of it. Just let it marinate with you. It would go ballistic, which is why I also believe the Falcons should make a trade for a wide receiver. Now, should they make a trade for a wide receiver or should they make a trade for a defensive tackle? That is up to you, depending on what you believe would make the bigger impact. Honestly, I'd be okay with both, but I would type my T for trades as well for the Dirty Birds. That is going to do it on today's episode of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Become a Become a smarter Falcons football fan by joining our 42,000 strong here. And as always, be cool.